Every single day, billions of people log into websites without thinking twice. But what actually happens the moment you press that login button? Let's trace every step from your keyboard to the server and back. You are staring at a login form. 2 fields, email, password. You hit submit. Your browser builds an HTTP POST request, one of the core methods of the web used for sending data to a server. Inside that request is your email and your password as plain text, alongside headers with metadata about your browser and any cookies already stored for this domain. That package travels across the internet through routers, undersea cables, data centers, in under 100 milliseconds. You just sent your password across the internet as plain text. That sounds terrifying. It would be without HTTPS. Before your browser sent a single byte, it performed a TLS handshake with the server. TLS, which stands for Transport Layer Security, is the engine behind the padlock in your address bar. During the handshake, your browser and the server negotiate a shared encryption key that only the two of them know. From that point on, every byte is encrypted. Your password, your cookies, your personal data, all of it looks like random noise to anyone watching the connection. HTTP without the S means your credentials travel in the clear readable by anyone on the same network. HTTPS is non-negotiable for any site that handles logins. The server decrypts your request and holds your email and password in memory. First, it queries the database for your email. If no account exists, a well-designed server returns a vague message like invalid credentials rather than email not found. Telling an attacker which emails are registered is a leak in itself. This is called user enumeration, and avoiding it matters more than most developers realize. Assuming the account exists, we reach one of the most important ideas in web security. The server does not store your password. It never has. What it stored at signup was a hash, the output of a one-way mathematical function. Feed in a password, get back a fixed-length string of characters. You cannot reverse the process. Beachcrypt, script, and Argon 2 are the algorithms most commonly used, deliberately slow, making brute force attacks expensive. And there is a wrinkle: salting. Before hashing your password at signup, the server generated a random string called a salt and mixed it in before running the hash. The salt is stored alongside the hash. This defeats precomputed attack tables, giant databases of common passwords, and their pre-calculated hashes. With a unique salt per user, even 2 people with the same password end up with different hashes. An attacker who steals the database has to crack each record individually. At login, the server fetches your salt, appends it to the password you sent, runs the hash, and compares the result to the stored hash. If they match, you are authenticated. Your actual password was never stored, never compared in the clear, and is discarded immediately. Now sessions solve a fundamental problem. HTTP is stateless. Every request is completely independent. The server has no built-in memory of previous ones. Without something extra, it would forget you the moment it sent a response. You would need to re-enter your password on every page load. The fix is the session. The server generates a session ID, a long, cryptographically random string, typically 128 bits of entropy. Randomness is critical. An attacker who guesses a valid session ID instantly impersonates its owner. The server stores this ID in a session store, often Redis or database table, alongside your user ID and an expiry timestamp. It then sends the session ID to your browser inside an HTTP site cookie header. Your browser stores the cookie and silently attaches it to every future request to this domain. This is what makes you feel logged in. You are not logged in permanently, you hold a token the server accepts as recent proof of authentication. Next request, you load your profile page. Your browser sends a GEET request with the cookie attached. The server reads the session ID, checks the session store, confirms it is valid and unexpired, retrieves your user ID, queries the database, and returns your data. Milliseconds. Invisible. You never re-enter your password. Sessions expire. A typical window is 30 minutes to a few hours of inactivity. When the timer runs out, the server invalidates the record, and your next request gets redirected to login. Banking sites use very short windows, sometimes 10 minutes for exactly this reason. Logout deletes the session server side. The server removes the session record and tells your browser to clear the cookie. If someone copied your session cookie earlier, it now points to nothing. Logout must always be a server-side action. Clearing the cookie in the browser alone is not enough. Cookies carry security flags. CTP only means JavaScript cannot read the cookie, protecting against cross-site scripting attacks that try to steal sessions by injecting malicious code into the page. Secure means the cookie only travels over HTTPS. Same site prevents the cookie from being sent on cross-origin requests, blocking cross-site requests for forgery attacks where a malicious page tricks your browser into making authenticated requests on your behalf. These 3 flags, HTTP only, secure, and same site, are the baseline for any production system. Some modern systems replace sessions with JSON Web Tokens or JWTs. A JWT is a self-contained, cryptographically signed token the server issues and the client sends back on every request. The server verifies the signature without touching a database. No session store, no server-side state. This scales well across distributed systems. The trade-off is revocation. You cannot invalidate a JWT before it expires without maintaining a block list, which reintroduces the server-side state you were avoiding. Sessions and JWTs each have their place. Many systems use both, so there is the full chain, a password sent encrypted over TLS, a hash and salt comparison that never exposes the real credential, a random session ID stored server-side and delivered as a cookie, silent attachment on every request, expiry server-side logout, and 3 cookie flags ensuring the session cannot outlive its welcome or be stolen by a script. What feels like a single button press is a carefully engineered trust ceremony running billions of times a day across the internet. That is Sessions Explained. Thanks for watching.